The Detroit Lions are entering the last day of organized team activities and saw an article from Fan Nation about 6 risers and 3 fallers at Detroit Lions OTAs. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now, this guy, John Macarone, he's been around for quite some time. An individual that gets media access and gets to be at these organized team activities. And let's get this thing started. So the first riser he has is Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs is a guy that a lot of people had a problem with when we drafted him. And I didn't. I was actually ecstatic that we drafted Jahmyr. I actually made several videos about the possibility of Jahmyr Gibbs being a Detroit Lion. Would he eventually replace DeAndre Swift? And that's exactly what happened. We took him round 1, and then by day 3, we had traded away DeAndre Swift. Another riser is Amon-Ra St. Brown. We know this guy. This guy puts in work. He does what he does. He comes to play. A surprise riser, Ife Melifonwu, who I think is going to have a bit of trouble making the team. A third-round pick from 2 years ago, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell's first draft. But it looks like that he is rising in week 2 of OTA, so that's going to be pretty good. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. I know we drafted him as a cornerback, and then he played a lot of safety, so we'll see what happens. And John Parker Romo, we found out yesterday about the kicking competition between him and Riley Patterson and how he was coming off on top with the better leg thus far. Derek Barnes, another first draft pick, meaning the 2021 draft, same draft we took St. Brown in and Penei Sewell, is a riser. And it'll be good to see Derek Barnes come on the field. He was previously, before Jack Campbell, the highest rounded, meaning the highest, we took him in the highest round before Jack Campbell in the 4th round. So it'd be good to see him actually get a presence on the team. Maurice Alexander is another surprise riser from OTAs, the guy that came from the USFL. His story is quite intriguing. He came from the USFL in 2022. They have a summer league, and then he came directly to the NFL. So his body went through a lot, but he wound up making the practice squad of the Detroit Lions, and he had to play several games when we did not have our wide receivers. And now for the fallers. Riley Patterson, the newly acquired Detroit Lion. He is a faller, according to John, missing field goals and not being very accurate. Number 2, Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams, and I think if you take the gambling and you take that and you put that to the side, I think there's a legitimate issue, meaning there's a legitimate gripe with Jameson Williams. Dan Campbell said that he needs to tighten up his route running, and you can see that. So it says that him and Jameson Williams and Nate Sudfeld did not appear in sync, of course, as OTAs, but I think this is why the gambling suspension was so hard for us, because we know that Jameson Williams, we drafted him, we chalked up the first year. We saw when he came back that the chemistry between him and Jared Goff was not there. And now they have to develop it again, and they have time to do that. But then when the season gets here, they can't do anything. They can't do anything. So Jameson Williams is probably, we're probably not going to see him into full swing until week 10, and that sucks. But I think that that is something that we have to look to. Nate Sudfeld is another faller as well. This is no surprise. Nate Sudfeld is terrible. He just is. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. Nate Sudfeld is terrible. We need somebody to come in and be a legitimate backup. So I'm not sure if Nate is that guy. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell make it seem like there is a possibility for us to get someone else. We'll just have to wait and see. But those are the risers and fallers from Fan Nation, all Lions. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.